17 minutes after 7 o'clock here on the best place to be on a Tuesday morning. 22 degrees Celsius here in Kingston. What is the temperature where you are in whatever part of the world you are? Whatever part of the world you are, there's probably a Jamaican somewhere there. Glad to have you back with us. Now, Jamaica may be a small island, but we play a big role on the global stage as we prepare to host Diplomatic Week 2025 from March 10 to 14. We're taking a closer look at how this important initiative, this important week, strengthens international partnerships, attracts investments, and advances the island's developmental goals. Joining us today is the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator the Honourable Kamina Johnson Smith, to unpack some of the key themes of this year's event and discuss what it means for everyday Jamaicans. Minister, welcome to the program.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Good morning to all your viewers as well.
Lovely. Get up early in the morning, but our minister is very fit.
Oh, you're used to that.
Early,
used to that.
doing her jogging, doing her thing.
She operates in different time zones as well.
Yeah.
But Minister, diplomacy is so important, but it's so, I mean, we were just looking at certain developments recently this week, and I was thinking this could have been handled so much better diplomatically.
Yes.
But for Jamaica, we have a very strong diplomatic tradition.
We do.
Where did this come from? Because I've always known it to be the case.
Well, we have a strong principle-based foreign policy. And I am very committed, together with my team at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, and of course supported by the Cabinet, led by Prime Minister Holness, ensuring that Jamaica's foreign policy is not only strong on principle, but it's strong on pragmatism insofar as Jamaica's national development goals are concerned. So we are always very focused. It's very easy to get distracted in a world that is as unpredictable and dynamic, let's call it that, as the world in which we now live. It's quite fractious. There are many conflicts, there's geopolitical tensions and wars. But around all of that and throughout all of that, it is important for us to ensure that we're always charting a path of partnership. One that develops opportunities for our people at every level, and one that ensures that Jamaica is, as we pledge from so to so, is able to play her part in advancing the welfare
of the whole human race.
If I might follow up, because in Jamaica, we have a strong tradition of, very strong Jamaican foreign ministers, but it's not just the politicians, but the career diplomats are also some of the most recognized and respected in the world.
My team at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I'm very big on team.
Right, I mean, we have that tradition where we're training new career diplomats.
Always. We, in fact, have now launched our Foreign Service Institute, which has been the dream of the ministry for many years, and it's finally being manifested. We appointed a day last year. Well, we have agreements with the Sushma Swaraj Institute in India, with the Andres Bello Institute in Chile. We have, I think, about 2 other arrangements that will allow us for development of curricula, actual exchanges in teaching and training, and of course just exchanges for diplomacy as well. But we're supposed to be speaking about Diplomatic Week as well.
Yes, absolutely.
Before you run me off the program and I don't say what I have to say.
I am coming to that, because then it's neat time.
Yes, we have to come back for that separate interview.
So let me just come back now to Diplomatic Week.
It's a woman who have to take control of things. Bring them back in.
And talk to us about how does Diplomatic Week, though, help to, solidify or galvanize economic growth and development and expansion for our country, and economic development and growth.
It does so by allowing for engagements that wouldn't normally happen. So it's essentially, we have not only our 26 heads of mission that are resident in Jamaica always, but we have 22 more heads of mission coming in. There are about 14 of them that are going to be presenting credentials. So we're talking about from Angola, Austria, Australia, Norway, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Kenya, Malaysia, Guatemala, Peru.
Busy.
Absolutely. And what you would be hearing throughout all of those names are non-traditional partners.
Yes.
So partners where it would be difficult for me to physically go to every country.
Gotcha.
It would be expensive for Jamaican taxpayers to pay for travel to all of those countries, but we invite them here. And they're willing to come here. We have ministerial statements that present. This year we're highlighting agriculture, smart agriculture, resilient agriculture. So Minister Green will present our actions in climate change and the environment, because we have made some phenomenal advancements. Minister Samuda will be sharing some of those. We have Minister Grange always. She's always a highlight and the favorite, I must admit, every year. She is the winning minister in terms of engagement, and Minister Hill and his team from JAMPRO will be presenting on investment opportunities here. In addition to that, we're also having presentations by the BOJ, TAJ, Jamaica Customs, and PICA. And they are demonstrating, again, things that small countries can do that make phenomenal changes developmentally. So BOJ, there are not many small developing countries that have an independent central bank.
Yes.
Some of what we're doing at PICA and TAJ in terms of digitizing our online payments, in terms of our C5 form to re-enter, digitizing what we're doing with the e-gates at Sangster, soon to come at Norman Manley. What are we doing? How are we doing it differently? How is it that Jamaica is able to do all of these things? It opens doors.
I like that you said that, Minister, and it sounds very great, but also it's almost as if sometimes when these weeks are held or these events, it's like preaching to the converted. How can ordinary Jamaicans know what's going on so we know exactly how it is going to impact us? Yeah.
Well, wonderful shows like this thank you, that help to promote the actions of the ministry. The truth is that foreign affairs is often the unseen hand. A lot of the work that we do is not necessarily, there are a lot of people who are not interested by it because they don't connect the dots between how it is that the actions at this level translate to their daily lives. And it is sometimes a bit of a path. But these are the foundations that are laid for scholarships, which are available on the Ministry of Finance website, but we're still looking at how we can make those even more accessible. It's important for faculty exchanges, for development funding. We never try to rely on one source of development funding or grant funding. We try to ensure that we have as many options in partnership as possible. There are things that are being done in other countries that we can learn from, and vice versa. And they are phenomenal in assistance. With India, we have we're a member of the International Solar Alliance, for example. And that is giving rise to all sorts of projects here. Kitson Town might not know, the average citizen in Kitson Town might not know that they're a part of a $1 million program that's being sponsored by the government of India. Because for them, it's not, the source is not important, it's what's happening in terms of the actual change. Maybe there's more that we could do about promoting that, but for us, the actual developmental opportunity and the impact is most important to us than the actual understanding, I think. And maybe there's more that we can do in that regard.
In relation to some of the aid opportunities that you've mentioned, as organizations benefit from aid, and there have been maybe changes in funding that we have heard announced. I mean, how are we, from a diplomatic standpoint, what's being done to strengthen relationships, to fortify that, and to make up for maybe potential losses?
Well, we've always, and you've always heard Prime Minister Holness speak about Jamaica's economic independence, our path to economic independence, and that continues to be our thrust. So partnerships and aid support us on a path as we continue to build our economic independence. So our mindset is never that our foreign policy must be geared at securing grants. It is important to us because it helps us do so much more. But, for example, Japan is one of our largest bilateral partners. You just saw how many more vehicles that we got, ambulances, police trucks, and in respect, and of course, the Coast Guard vessels that are high-speed chase vessels, etc. Those have Japan has provided those and is also providing us with a research vessel valued at 1.2 billion yen.
Wow.
Right. So, and that is going to help us to leverage our blue economy. You know, we have not been able to fully study our fisheries, our stocks, and be able to make sure that we're doing all the right things, taking all the right decisions, as well as policing our waters.
Yes.
So,
well, I know that a lot of people, Minister, you know, regarding the USAID situation vis-a-vis the United States of America, a lot of people are concerned about that.
Yeah.
As Dennis mentioned, in terms of fortifying and plugging those gaps, where are we with that? And I also read something to the effect of the UK also, some grant, you know, funding being rescinded or cut down.
Right.
How do we deal with that?
So
and
two
do we need to
separate
be
issues.
concerned?
Two separate issues. In respect of the USAID, we are continuing to assess where we are. And they are an important bilateral funding partner, grant partner, and therefore the suspension of USAID funding is, of course, of concern. How it is that we operate, however, and where we are in terms of funds that are maybe that were projected. For many projects, we were actually at end of life for them.
Yes.
So the impact is not anticipated to be great. And then there are other projects that were just starting.
Right.
So what the government is doing and recognizing that this is pause, not a complete ending.
Yes.
It is a pause so far as we understand. We've not received any other official information. But we are looking at how we can reprioritize funding for issues that are absolutely critical to government, and looking at where we need to source funding otherwise, or where it can otherwise be shifted within government.
Yes.
So we will not pop down.
Yes.
We are not popping down. This government is a resilient government. We are committed to ensuring that we are able to do the things that we need to for our people, and the services that this government provides are not dependent to an extent that they will fall apart if funding falls apart. And we continue to have good partners like the UK.
Yes.
Yes, they have reduced the percentage of their overall budget that will be allocated for overseas development assistance. That is their global position. But so far as we're aware, it has not affected any programs or any grants that have been programmed for Jamaica.
Very well.
So and the EU is also one of our largest bilateral grant providers as well. And in fact, we were at the EU, the first EU 5K.
5K downtown.
Right, downtown,
Yes.
the first one. We were there together. I think you had me doing the bird.
Yes. And you did a great job.
I did not. I did not. It was terrible.
Yeah.
It's a little pigeon, but
It
it's still a
was,
bird.
it was,
It's a bird.
and it was a chronic pigeon. It was not a healthy pigeon. You know, it did not
Oh,
inspire
Lord.
confidence.
Yes.
This pigeon. but so we have, and they are still here doing their fifth run, which is a great fundraiser again, and part of their commitment to peace and redevelopment of downtown. So we have amazing partnerships, and things like the Diplomatic Week help to build that, because it brings people here who wouldn't normally be here.
Yes.
And it allows for engagement with people who are here. So a different story is told about Jamaica than what maybe they may have last read at their last briefing 10 years ago. And it allows us to strengthen our presence globally as well. So one of the things that the heads of mission do when they come is that they also engage in bilateral meetings with other ministers. So you heard me list some who will present, but they will also meet with others based on programs. And we also get the opportunity to promote our candidature for the International Maritime Organization. We're running again for Category C. So on Friday, we have arranged with the Maritime Authority to take them on a tour of our 7th largest natural harbor in the world, and show them all the developments that are taking place on our ports, and how Jamaica, as small as we are, does incredible things in terms of trade and our potential as a transshipment port. So we will be showcasing that to them, and Minister Vaz will also be present to help promote his candidature, essentially. We are his facilitators. So we look forward to an exciting week, and very much appreciate your helping us to promote it here.
You're most welcome, Minister, and thank you so much for sharing and bringing us up to speed. All the best.
You could have been a diplomat, you know.
I think so. I think so. I think she has potential.
I think
I think so.
Well, you know, I think I might want to go to the diplomat school.
Ambassador.
To where? Where'd you put me?
Tell me.
Bali.
Bali.
That sounds like he wants somewhere to visit.
You know what I mean?
Like a reason
But
to
you know,
visit.
I can see you as ambassador as well. Because you have that stature, you have that, you know what I mean, knowledge
Yes,
base.
a very cool
Yes,
personality.
yes.
Used to work for the UN. back in
Yes,
the
you
day.
work for the UN? Oh, see that?
There you
Well,
go.
Minister, we need to talk.
Let's talk.
Let's talk. Ambassador. Well, we're ambassadors of Sunrise presently,
Indeed.
proudly ambassadors of CVM, and of course our wonderful minister here, Senator the Honourable Kamina Johnson Smith, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade. It's time for another break, but there's more Sunrise right after this, so please stay right where you are.